yourself.
Am I talking to myself? Hello, I'm talking to myself. Welcome back to RXP, where you join us for Threads of Chaos, our midweek campaign. We are currently on session 8, episode 8, titled "Caught in a Spiral." So we have almost a full house today. We have everyone bar Leonie today. So we've swapped out Leonie for Marie this time, it seems. So a soul for a soul, equal exchange, balance is kept intact. But without further ado, we'll just jump right into it. So, the party have currently been staying in the small lakeside town of Larian. This town has left the party meeting very strange residents of the Aerith dynasty. Larian is a port town having issues sleeping at night and a strange lack of enthusiasm, dating back a few months now. A tavern, which was an area of entertainment in the town, is long left abandoned, with signs of enchantment and spiraling iconography etched in hidden spots. The party also learned that another group mentioned in the letter that they each received are ahead of them by some time now, leaving them to wonder if this is a race or a strange coincidence that the people mentioned in the letter are also on the same road as them. But as night fell, an alert Helen kept an eye out on the surrounding as the group rested inside this tavern. But a strange sight. An old man had left the safety of Larian and walked the barren lands in pitch black. Helen, following the sleepwalking man, found herself falling into a dark pit where warped humanoid creatures with red spirals chased her down as their hunger was growing, and all they could see was Helen as prey. So, as that is currently taking place, rather than focus on Helen for a second, we're going to focus on the party. So, you guys have spent the last few hours in this tavern resting. You had met the kind of representative of the town earlier today, as well as a priest. They had given you information of the town and had said that you can rest in this tavern for the time being. So, we will focus one by one on your characters to see where they are currently and what they're up to. Focusing on Axon first. So, Ilya, if you could describe what Axon is up to in these few hours in the night.
In the night? Well, probably sleeping. I don't know if.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anything to happen this night. I mean, I actually have a theory. Like the Axon has a theory that it might show him something in his dreams.
Okay.
But beside that, so.
And to provoke this, is there a space where Axon is sleeping specifically?
The most clean and nicely put bed, if there is one in this place.
Okay. So it's mostly chairs, broken chairs and tables, but you've amassed a space easily enough and comfortable enough to sleep in. And are you sleeping next to one of the spirals?
If this place is next to one, yeah, I don't mind. I would not be specifically looking for a place like somewhere.
Okay, cool. Then you rest. You rest and sit there as the night begins to unravel. You can hear the rest of your party members doing about small activities as well as resting themselves after a long journey. This is the first time that you've had a bit of a roof and some solid foundation. The bed next to the Howling Mountains, the outpost, not the most comfortable, but it had at least a comfortable mattress to sleep in. Here you have your bedrolls and you've made your own comfort for the evening. Now, Axon, as you're resting there, I'd like you to roll a Arcana check for me. Okay.
16.
Noted. You sleeping in this space, having your theories on a potential dream or something to enlighten you to what's happening here or what had happened. you find yourself drifting off, your eyes lulling every so often. And as you're focusing on your mind, your strongest attribute, you find almost like lines of energy flowing through this space. You see it almost shoot past. Thin, small, slightly erratic. You see it bounce off the walls, just bouncing constantly. Never stopping, never losing momentum, constantly bouncing off of the ceiling, the floor, the furniture, the bar units, everything. You just see this thin grey light bouncing off of everything. And then you watch it hit into one of the spirals. For a moment, you see it bounce off of the spiral, but the spiral itself almost seems to grow deeper, like depth is actually forming. And you watch as this beam of light is almost brought in and completely consumed by this spiral. It just disappears. There's no more light emanating in that space. For that brief moment, the energy that you could see manifested was that of a soul, remnants of one at least, one that had been left in here and had found its way to being consumed by this spiral. You kind of find yourself fluttering out of this stupor, unable to interact in the moment.
Do I see it in a dream or just right in front of me, like when I'm sitting
I'm not
there?
too sure. It's the same point of view, so you're not sure if that was maybe when you were drifting off and your eyes were awake, your eyes were closed. It's not sure. Okay, and then we'll move on to Marie. So, Marie, what is Mayceli up to during this time? You have a few hours to kill. Do you just rest as well, or do you have something else in mind?
I'm probably resting, because it's not like I have any talents that I can do in like downtime. Talentless.
Okay. Then as you rest, you find every so often Mushu, your pseudo-dragon, staring at you. You see his demeanor and look is very kind of soft and gentle when he's with you. But there is a moment through the night that you notice him just looking up at the spiral. There are two spirals. There is one etched into behind the bar unit, and in this tavern there is a second floor which overlooks, it's like a VIP room that overlooks the main foyer, the main party downstairs. A booth, there is located just above it another spiral, and these spirals seem to be crudely carved into the walls. You can see Mushu is looking up to the one by the bar unit, just staring off, not really moving much, just looking at the spiral.
It's like in the same manner that Tuko and I were staring into his eyes thing. Like, does it seem the same?
You get a similar sort of sensation, like he's getting lost in the moment, perhaps.
Okay, I'll snap my fingers next to him.
You snap. The first snap doesn't seem to register with him, but then you like snap again, and then he just kind of like looks at you. That same kind of starry expanse of eyes just staring towards you, and yeah.
Does he seem fine?
Yeah, he licks your face, and it doesn't seem to have like anything wrong with him. You can roll an insight check if you want,
Okay.
to see if you can grasp anything further.
No.
7. He seems alright. Like,
Okay.
you're not sure what to gather from him, because he's also a bit of an enigma to you anyway. So for him to like have this moment, he's usually quite cheerful and playful with you. With others, maybe a bit more standoffish, depending on how you give him commands. But yeah, it seems to be okay.
Okay. She's not gonna look into it then.
All right. And then we'll move on to Arne. So, Arne, what is Oren up to during this time?
Yes. During the last few days, Oren has been hammering away and crafting a new spell focus. You've seen it sometimes, at least how far he's come. A dark octagonal piece of metal that he is now engraving with the symbols of Moradin, using a mostly gold-based alloy. And
Go for it.
yeah, as he's obviously he's doing this outside to not interrupt your rest, but you feel a growing warmth, not exactly from a fire or something, but on a spiritual level, as divinity. You can, now that you've been in the Temple of Moradin, you can associate with him. Starts building up not a shining beacon, but a slow and steady stream of warmth, like from a button. From a forge fire.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, Oren would come back into the room, holding this piece, almost like a compass. It's bigger than his usual focus. This time, not adorned to his beard. It's done, and he holds it up proudly. And yeah, on this piece of metal you see engraved in almost an amber hue an anvil with a hammer above. The button, divine runes carved into the edges, and yeah, faintly radiating divinity.
You see it catches Tuko's attention as he's sitting there, resting on one of the chairs, and looks over towards you and gives like a clear look of impressed. He knows some bits about magic, and he can see that there is some energy pouring off of it. He hops down to you, and he just begins to kind of look up at it and acknowledge. Oh, very fine work.
Thank you. It's a rather personal piece. Also, Cogner helped me make it. He has a knowledge about minerals and materials you would perhaps appreciate to learn.
He nods. I will ask him some more questions in the morning. I do not want to disturb his rest.
Understandable. Well, in any case, my connection to my god has been thus restored. Or, in more arcane terms, with a look towards Axon, I can cast spells again.
I would be probably asleep already, I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
As you spend a moment to admire and begin to kind of go into detail with Tuko, he begins to ask you questions about how it's done, the crafting behind it, just to get more of an insight. And partway through that discussion, you all feel this this thunderous boom inside your chest. You are all rocked awake as you hear the glass panes begin to just shake slightly with vibration. Some of the general surroundings, the bits of loose rubble and parts of broken foundations in this tavern begin to shake and crumble off and break away. But where there was a darkness to keep you easily within sleep, there is a bright light that just shines. A bright phosphorus white just shines the entire room so brightly that all of you wake up, and for a moment you find yourselves adjusting to this bright light. It's as if the sun has been turned on in the middle of the night, and as you all kind of focus for a moment, you all begin to kind of stir awake and move around. What do you guys do? Are you staying in the tavern or are you rushing out?
Yeah, I'm already tumbling towards the door, clearly disoriented by the loud bang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, running outside, looking at what just happened.
Ulrin's the first one to run outside to see what this commotion is all about. You can hear the horses, Pineapple and Apple, who have been stationed outside next to Cognar. You hear them begin to whimper and rise up in their saddles as they are also alerted by it. Just a cacophony of sound as you open that door, slam it open, and you can see rising out from southward, from where the lake sits still. You watch this trail of light just shoot up into the sky like a shooting star, fly up and high, illuminating the entire town, where you see windows being opened, people standing outside looking up at it as well. I'd like you to roll a perception check, Ulrin.
Ten.
10. You still kind of focusing and looking around. You can see, you can't see much with that blinding light that's just kind of flashed, but you can hear the commotion. People around the town are beginning to say, are we under attack? What's happening? People are seemingly under the impression that there is a combat or some sort of fight taking place. You watch, soaring through the sky, the phosphor, this ball of light, sparkles and continues to fly downwards. It's now arced and is heading past the town limits. You follow it, and you can see it seems to be heading just past one of these watchtowers. You can see some guards are beginning to run off in that direction, heading there with weapons in hand, half sleepy, rubbing their eyes as they run forward, armored and wearing spears in their hands. And as you're now taking note of everyone waking up, you can see that Helen is not present in the tavern, around the tavern. She is the only one in your group who is not present. Everyone has exited their homes and has been woken up by this, but you do not see Helen.
Yeah, I quickly look both ways to see if she's just behind some corner or sprinting towards the light. Upon not seeing her, I rush back in, yelling towards the others. Helen's missing. Also, apparently, something is attacking, or rather, the boat, I think, is attacking something.
I'm gonna send Musha out to look for Helen, specifically her.
Okay.
You can ignore whatever the fuck's going on.
Sure. If you can roll a perception or survival check for Mushu as he begins to scour the area.
see.
Damn.
Nice.
So 14. Because it added them together. I thought it was a nat 20 as well. So 14 plus his survival or perception. Is that like a +2?
Why did it add a... Huh?
I don't know.
Okay. Perception is +3.
Okay,
it's
so
17.
So he begins to fly out, scour the space. You begin to look through his eyes, and you can, almost following the trail of that ball of phosphor, just continuing to arc down now. You are following, and you can see that the pseudo-dragon Mushu seems to have the scent of Helen. You see he's sniffing the air, and he's heading in the direction of where that ball is descending. He continues and continues, and you are alerted by this. You inform everyone as they begin to stir up. You watch through Mushu's eyes as just past one of these watchtowers, a shining light which is now completely washed of any color because of the shooting star above. You can see Helen stood, one leg kind of crouched down in a sniper position, holding out the crossbow ready to fire anything coming towards them. And you, in that split second, through Mushu's eyes, can see several of these almost thin, gnarly, gaunt-looking humanoids, all pasty white skin, smooth in places but rigid in others. You can see their mouths almost detach from the bottom of their jaw, and their tongue lolls out further than it should. Each one of them has a glowing red spiral in their forehead, as you see them with glossy, glazed-over eyes, as though they are blind, rushing towards Helen as this ball of phosphor descends, and then opens up like a net and completely engulfs all of these humanoid creatures, with Helen standing only about 15 feet away from them. At this point, Helen, you feel that rush of heat hit you, as well as the just kind of impact of this wave. It rocks you backwards, and you kind of hold onto the back of the watch post as you fly towards it, holding on tight. Your eyes adjust, and you can see that flashing light, the flames all burning into this flatlands, is now beginning to subside. And you notice Mushu above, just flying and kind of circling around you.
She'd look pretty beat up, but Mushu would also see she's just like grinning, like really wide, like borderline creepily at the like big fire, like descending, just burning everything to shit. Like she just would start grinning really wide while just like actively bleeding, or with her shoulder mostly dislocated.
Lovely stuff.
So what does Mayseely do then? She sees this through Mushu's eyes.
She's gonna run the same direction Mushu went.
All right.
She doesn't... I don't think she will care to get the rest with her. She's just gonna start running.
All right.
Yeah, Oren is trying to keep up. Did you find her?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, so Oren would follow you, but probably fail to keep up and arrive like I don't know, a minute or two later.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, you begin to rush. Tuco begins to rush as well behind. Cognar stays behind with the horses to make sure that they don't run away. He just holds on to them, just grabs one of the horses and holds them in the air as they're beginning to freak out. Whilst the rest of you rush over towards Helen. So Helen, you holding onto this watch post can hear from above the person who had originally held a signal light at you, like a spotlight. You see this this half-orc female just look down in your direction. What the hell's going on? What were those things?
No idea. I don't see real well in the dark. I know they're creepy. I know they're probably mostly not human, and they have a den kind of... It would just point the direction she thinks she went. I think they've been eating people out there. Might be worth checking in a bit once it gets a bit brighter out.
You see they begin to like look around. Are there any more?
I have no idea. Edward just smile and goes, probably. Seemed like it was pretty big den down there, but I think those are the only ones that followed me out.
All right, another question. Why the fuck were you out there?
Well, I was patrolling around, just having a look, and there's this old guy who just kind of started walking out into the wasteland. So I followed him, and he was very asleep, but also seemed to be awake and really intent on walking. So I just kind of followed him. I figured, why not? And then he and I fell down a hole, and he seemed very much still not awake, and I was awake, and then those things. So I ran, and they followed me.
Shit. Okay.
Definitely trying to eat me, probably, or at least maim me severely.
Oh, fuck. Look, lady, you're quite lucky, because I was asleep for most of that, so you better count your lucky stars that I was awake. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you guys really need to be getting some better rest. I mean, between the weird sleepwalking and all you walking around like zombies, I mean, the sleep quality is really not great.
Look, I've even resorted to putting chilies in my eyes. It's not good. It's not good at all. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to tell the boss about this, so if you could just stay there. You see...
And would just kind of sit down, still kind of crossbow semi-armed, but not paying as much attention.
Okay. You begin to hear chatter up there. They seem to be talking to some sort of device. You imagine there's some sort of standing stone or something along those lines that they seem to be talking into. But as you sit there, just kind of waiting for a moment, almost popping your wrists back into place after the levitating stones were placed in the gloves, you can see that the fires, after about 15 seconds or so, have completely dissipated, and there's not even an ember left behind. It goes completely dark after that point, and the only thing that shines is the spotlight that they had in that original position. However, in the sky, you notice that there is still a trail of these white and orange embers that seem to originate from the mortar strike from the ship. You can see they just seem to hang there in the air for a long period of time, but everything else is completely gone.
Would she have any idea, like, what kind of, like, if this is magic or if this is some kind of, like, alchemical chemical thing that they've done to do this? Like,
Yes.
Is this fireworks or is this magic?
For this, I'd ask you to roll an alchemy check. So this will be your intelligence plus proficiency, because you are proficient in alchemy.
Okay, I'm going to roll Arcana just because it's the same skill. Okay, let's see.
15. You get a strong sensation that sense that this is alchemy. This is some sort of very corrosive element that is being used to burn through a lot of materials. There seems to be a reason why these flatlands are flatlands. It doesn't degrade into the stonework or the ground itself. It seems to just destroy all living matter. So every humanoid that was once standing, not even bone is really left behind. There are small remnants of ash, but apart from that, it is all completely wiped clean. So this is some sort of alchemical produce that they've made. And one thing to note as well, the Ebrith dynasty as a whole don't tend to use too much magic in their weaponry and arsenal. That is more lean towards the Vorid Empire in the north, who blend it together with technology. But yeah, so as you're sitting there resting, you see the rest of your party members beginning to arrive. Mace Celia the first to stand there by your side.
Can I just have to get these out of my glove? Can you hold this? And would just kind of pass the big crossbow off and kind of start emptying the pebbles out of her hands and carefully putting them back in the bag.
She's I don't know if she's gonna drop it. She's not gonna drop it, but she'll probably like be very shocked from like the impact because she's not a strong gal. Okay, does she seem fine? Is she like bleeding profusely or something?
Oh,
She's-
she's hurt.
Yeah, she looks like she's been shot several dozen feet in the air and then hit the ground pretty hard and then been running through the bush blind. So she's probably like covered in dust and her clothes are covered in dirt and she's probably prestidigitationing stuff off of herself actively. But yeah, she looks a little bit of a mess. A little bit of blood. Not too bad, but not great.
Maisie's gonna like poke you very like being very like you're made of glass, like touch your shoulder, but being kind of hesitant about it. She's gonna heal you for it isn't even a touch spell. I don't know why she's poking you, but here we are. Here we are. How many am I gonna use? I'm gonna use two healing lights. You 2d6 for a bad roll. It's fine.
I'll take it.
Nice.
Health.
Healing is healing.
Healing is healing. It's true.
Okay.
Her slightly dislocated finger just like pops back into place.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Dislocations happen all the time, and healing magic helps, loosen the bits, and then it's easier to,
Okay.
important skills to know,
Okay. She looks traumatized. You're traumatized.
Fair enough. Oren, you now arrive as well alongside Maisile. You can see the state that Helen is currently in.
Okay. First off, are you okay? And what happened?
Well, I was doing a patrol. Right, walking around, just checking, kind of odd place, odd things happening. And then I saw this old man just kind of walking out into the dark. And I went, maybe he's sleepwalking and I can wake him up. Tried to wake him up. Didn't wake up. Really, really, really wanted to keep walking. So I started following him. And then he turned. So I started leaving like little things in the ground. And then we fell into a hole. And something grabbed him and started eating him. So I quickly left, said things, started following me back, and then I got close enough, started, yelling and screaming and waving, and the big thing shot the fun. I want to figure it out. Fireball bolt thing at them. Not magic though, apparently. I think it's some kind of firework chemical thing. Very interesting. Look, there's not even dust, and would kind of just start like pawing at the ground to show.
Besides the point, why didn't you not wake any of us?
Well, by the time you started walking, I was already pretty far away, so even if I had shouted, you probably wouldn't have heard me because everyone was inside when I left. And so I figured it was just better to keep following him. Figured he'd just be like walking. He wasn't going real fast, but if I had, not followed him, I definitely would have lost where he was going because I don't see so super well in the dark. I figured what's the worst that can happen, and now we know.
At least you are right. And the man you were following, you say he was eaten by these creatures?
Yes, at least mostly. There was, ripping and tearing sounds, and it didn't seem the healthy kind, so...
Oh, can you describe the creatures? Do you know what they were?
Well, it seemed like maybe they were people at one point, some kind of magic or blood ritual or something, and would start describing their appearance.
Mhm.
They had the same spiral thing, though, so I think this is connected. Once it's light, I think we should go back down there and have a proper look around, especially because you guys see much better in the dark than I do. and then we can figure out what is happening. But I could use at least a little bit of a nap because I still, I'm a bit bruised. This one is could use a few hours.
Fair point, yes. Then let's go back. Do you need help with anything?
I was told to wait here until a guard or something comes, but we can just leave a note to say where we're staying, right? And then they can come around then. That seems a good idea. And would kind of actually she wouldn't have her stuff on her. She'd ask someone if they had pen and ink on them, but I'm guessing no one has their big bags.
As you begin to inquire and ready a note, you notice, all of you notice that flying through the sky, there is a shape that begins to grow closer. The shape itself is illuminated. There is a light that surrounds them, almost like a beacon in the sky. They fly closer and closer. As this light grows closer, it's coming from the ship, and it is flying towards you guys. As it's being noticed, you hear the guard who is stationed in this watchtower just leans over. It is Admiral Whimsy, don't worry. He wants to understand what happened here. And
I was beginning to get worried the last time some light shot off the ship. Well, and I look at probably scorch marks.
You see he kind of shrugs. Yes, he's a little bit extravagant. As he continues to fly through the air, you see it then approach. Quick white feathers is what you see as it lands in front of you. You see a very tall-looking, long-necked Aarakocra. This one with a orangey kind of yellow beak that extends forward, white head as well as wings to their body, slight bits of black here and there. They seem to be an Aarakocra with a seagull sort of look to themselves. He seems to be wearing quite a nice admiral's uniform, painted in the kind of purples and greens of the Ebereth dynasty in crisscross patterns, like a tight leather tunic against their waist. And you can see dangling like a bandolier around the kind of right-hand shoulder blade down to the left. There are several balls of light that seem to be captured in bottles. They themselves seem to have almost tiny fireflies inside of them that glow with a brightness that is almost tenfold of their own size. As he lands next to you, he kind of arches forward and rises up. So, what is happening here then? I was told to fire the cannon. Who is at fault for this?
Helen would kind of stand up and kind of hold out a hand to introduce herself. Well, I can tell you the whole story of what happened. It appears you have more problems than just people being sleepy. Apparently they're wandering off to get eaten. Just still holding her hand out.
You see, he kind of leans down, his long neck looking towards you face to face. And your name?
Helen Anavir, and just waiting for him to shake her hand.
His hand rises up, and his wings aren't attached to his arms rather. They seem to be an extra part of his body. His hands rise outwards, and you can see the one that he reaches out with seems to be very crooked, almost like still in rigor mortis as he reaches out with it, and it's almost like clawed as he kind of reaches a hand out. I am Admiral Whimsy.
Lovely to make your acquaintance, and then would kind of launch into the full spiel story of what happened.
Mm-hmm. He kind of craned figure. He's tall, hunched back, so he's kind of like always leaning forward, his neck almost completely straight horizontally as he's kind of like looking and leaning around. His eyes look quite weathered, bloodshot in places. It seems to be maybe older. You're not sure the age span of Aarakocra, but from his look, his notability, the medals that he has on him, you assume he seems to be in his later life, maybe in his 70s or so. And as he's kind of looking over at each one of you, hearing the story, he's nodding along. And spirals, you say?
Mhm.
And these creatures were hungry for flesh.
Given that they ate the poor elderly man and attempted to eat me, I would say yes.
Is this man still alive?
I unfortunately severely doubt that. There were some unfortunate sounds in the dark as I was running. And he did not seem to be conscious when I tried to grab him. So. And she just kind of give as much of a description of the man as she could do. It was also dark, so she didn't see him very well, but would try to give a description.
Okay. You see, he begins to look around. Well, thank you for the information that you have given. Congratulations on surviving. But I think this is not over for tonight. Men! And you see he begins to shout around some of the guards who have stationed themselves and were drawn by the light. You see they all begin to stand by his side. Do you remember of the direction in which this old man had walked?
I actually left a few markers along the way, so once it gets light, I'm very happy to go back down there and have a look around, because I'm so very curious.
Do not worry, my dear, you have done enough. But me and my men, we have a Larian to save. And you see he begins to head forward into the darkness.
Helen would kind of look at everyone else and just do a, we should go with him, ignore what I said earlier about needing rest kind of expression.
Anna, you're muted, mate.
You're muted.
Yeah, I just noticed. Helen, you've been in that cave. Would you say that a couple of guards would stand a chance alone?
Well, if there's a bunch more of those things down there, they might be okay. The Admiral seems to know what he's doing. But I think we should go investigate, just in case, and also, if we can figure out what's up with this place first, there's something in it for us. The guards do it. What are we here for?
Well, worst
Are you
case,
having
they have
this-
a couple extra hands, but I advise we should, this time, alert the entire group.
I think the entire group is next to you, or am I wrong? And
Did
are you
Exxon
having this
also run
conversation?
over?
Well, I think yes. Are you having this conversation right in front of the general, or?
He wandered off, right?
Yeah, he's beginning to walk into the darkness with 6 of his guards. He himself doesn't look like he's prepared for fighting. He just kind of leans forward and hobbles slightly.
Then let's just follow them. He has
Agreed.
no authority over us.
Okay. As you begin to follow behind, you begin to notice, although it is complete dark, he reaches over to his bandolier where one of these balls filled with fireflies is. You see he takes off the top and he lifts it up into the air, and all of these fireflies begin to just flood around the area, and the entire path forward is completely illuminated by all of these fireflies that seems to be working underneath his command. You see he kind of looks towards them, points in a direction, and they all kind of begin to swarm over and create these lights, the walkway, to follow.
I will also
you are
just click
following.
my fingers and cast light. We would also see where we are going.
Okay.
As we go along, Helen would collect the like crossbow bolts and stuff she'd left as markers.
You begin to easily pick up everything and follow behind. As you are following, you hear the Admiral turn around and kind of look in your direction. So you wish to fight more, do you?
Well, given the things tried to eat me, I'm curious as to why. Now that we have a bit of company, I won't have to go running if a bunch more of them pop up.
We can leave all the fun to you, General.
Fun. This is not fun. This is necessary. And he continues. You follow, and Helen, you're basically retreading your steps. You follow the path, which is just a complete flatland. You find the pieces of rock, like a small, disheveled hillside that's seen much erosion over the years, which you hid within. You can also see elements of places along your journey as well, divots in the ground, but eventually you arrive at continued flatlands, but you see there is just a cave that just goes downwards at an angle, steep as it is. You can see blood marks and trails of like almost scraping, like hands or claws have scraped into the stone and have tried to either climb out or climb in. But you can see the Aarakocra looks over and down into it. I do not hear anything.
Well, it's quite a ways down, so if we're going down, probably carefully and in a bit of an order or at least a slight formation.
He nods. He grabs a rope from one of the guards and he himself goes straight in. He dives in. His
Can
wings
I use
ended.
can I use this moment to cast Sanctuary on him so he doesn't just get jumped immediately once he gets down?
Sure thing. You cast this holy protection on him. He notices and he kind of looks towards you. Moradin,
Yes.
I respect your choices and gods. And
I'm proud of him.
he descends downwards with the rope. The rope slack continues to unwind and unwind as eventually it goes taut. And you hear from the other side, "You may start to descend." And more of these fireflies begin to illuminate the interior of this cave. And you just see him there standing, placing the rope against a column for the rest of you to have an easy descent downwards. The guards head down first, following suit. Two of them stay up there just to watch the general area, but the other four descend down. I imagine all of you follow suit?
Yep.
Okay. As you do, the first thing you notice is the smell. Although the lights, there is a clear visual of everything, the smell is the first thing you notice. It is a heavy, repulsive smell, one that is filled with iron, as well as this very rotten undertone to it. But as well, there are almost elements which are clean, completely clean. And as the cave system opens up with the brightness now filling it, you can see that this place is crude in look. There's not a polished cave, not necessarily. It's not carved with meaning. It seems to be a cave found here naturally and has been used, perhaps temporarily. But there are blood marks on this slide, this divot downwards. There are marks on the ground. And Helen, for you, you notice the fresh marks of the old man. But you notice there is dragging marks a handprint and the body shifting forward. The trail continues further into the cave, where the cave begins to grow smaller. It funnels into another space beyond. But there's no sign of him. And there's no
Well?
sign of anything else either.
Well, I'm glad I didn't run that way and decided to go back out the way I came in. That doesn't look great.
The Admiral begins to look around and... So you are here.
Yep, and would basically point to the spot she fell. Fell about there, and then promptly decided to leave.
He begins to walk around the space in which you landed. How many did you say there were following you?
It was like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
I think about 5, at least that I saw. You know, the slight glowy was a bit of a sign, but could have been more of them.
He looks down at the ground. I see tracks. There are tracks for 5. Fresh. But there is also one here that is older. A singular set of tracks. These other ones, and he points to several footmarks. There are 5 clear marks barefoot. But here, and he gestures onto a very precise set of steps. The rest of them are sporadic. They even climb onto the walls. Almost like bits of like blood marks, also kind of chalky in their texture. He points to one. Here there is clear intent. A singular set of boot prints. And he gestures, leading down into that cave. He points to the funnel further ahead. Well, if we wish to find more answers, further in we must go. And he continues to step forward.
Alright. Helen would pull out the crossbow, but would hang back slightly, like would let a few people go first.
Okay. What's the order that you guys are going in? So you have the Admiral who is first leading this charge. Anyone behind him? Or would it be his guards?
It doesn't seem like there's extra pathways, so no real chance of those creatures getting around and jumping us from the back.
If you want to roll a perception check, see if you can glean anything further.
Okay. 14.
You look around and you do not notice any hidden spaces in which someone could be hiding behind, or small areas of shadow where something may be skulking. The area seems pretty much clear. There are no bodies. There is nothing in the space that you can really see that kind of like causes alarm. But there are markings of people having been through here, hurt, damaged, killed. You can just see stain marks everywhere. But with a 14, you also notice in those stain marks that someone has used their finger and every so often has drawn the spiral symbol with it. And on some of them, you can see they almost interconnect. You can see the spiral kind of goes from one of these blood marks to another, to another, to another. And it seems to be this almost like endless loop that you're watching, formed in this spiral pattern. There seems to be some sort of deranged madness with this space. But Nothing hidden from your eyes, at least. Anyone else following the Admiral?
I think we'll be right, like behind him.
Okay.
Yep.
So alongside Helen, you'll be kind of behind. So it'll be the Admiral and his guards, and then the rest of you. So one guard places himself
know.
in space.
I
you're gonna be
meant
right.
right behind the general. Yeah.
Okay. You stand behind the Admiral, sure. As he kind of like begins to grow closer in, the cave system grows narrow, and you can see there are like claw marks against this very thin slit of a doorway. You see again, he pulls out another one of these bottles, opens it, and the fireflies begin to flood out from and open this space with more light. And you can kind of see everything inside here now. The first thing you notice is pews. You see there is carved chairs to the left and the right. There are benches, two. One on the left made of wood, one on the right made of stone. The space itself is more carved, nicer in its presentation, although it is more sinister. You can see on the walls there are bodies, blood marks stained, leaving their outlines of them. Almost like a Chasey Dane of outlines of blood. You can see the people have been stained against the wall, holding, grasping hands, one after the other, interconnecting all around the walls. The smell in here is very pungent, and you notice that blood trail on the ground from the old man. You see it continuing further into this room, and you see it going between the two sets of chairs. Now, in front of these chairs is a raised platform. The platform has a pew with a small, almost like a church like ceremony, sermon. You see it's their risen platform with a base to place some sort of book within it. Seems to be an area for prayer, preach. Behind it is the thing that catches your eye the most. You see a depiction of, it's almost like a stained painting. There is a large silhouette of some sort of shadow, dark in color. And you see its hands are placed in front of its chest, cupping what looks like a giant version of that red spiral all around. The hands themselves almost creating the spiral as they blend into this artwork. The spiral meets as it circles and circles to the very center. In the center, you can see held onto the wall by seemingly nothing, a large heart. You see dripping still a heart of a devil, and the same one you had found earlier today. You see it there, held in that space. And this is when you begin to hear breathing. You notice at the bottom of this heart, the blood dripping from it and hitting against this old man's face. You see the old man who has a broken arm, a broken leg, has crawled his way through the passage up to this platform and is placing themselves underneath the heart, the spiral. And you see in his still sleep-driven mind, still trying to claw and climb his way up to the very center of this spiral, but failing because he lacks the strength. The Admiral looks around and... What is this place?
Well, probably a place of some ritual.
I'm gonna preemptively activate the frozen right on my crossbow, because
Oh.
this situation is not looking promising.
So you invoke the right onto your crossbow.
Yeah, so I
Nice.
take a d4 damage, which I'll roll.
Okay.
Can I cast a detect magic? Or start
Sure you
casting
can.
it as a ritual, and if it's like happens something like someone appears or attacks us, then I just cast it as a normal.
Okay. Anyone else?
Can I roll religion or something along the lines to get some information of what this ritual or whether these are religious practices or something along the lines?
Sure, yeah. Go for it. And you add a d4 to this now. $15. Okay. And Maysili, are you doing anything in particular?
Nope. I have nothing to prepare.
Okay. So, as all of you begin to kind of investigate, look around, and try and understand what's going on, whilst also preparing for the worst, Orin, you look at this moment in space, and you can see that the same spiral, which was depicted in the tavern, also has that null, that where the red is placed in the swirling pattern, there is nothing to it. It is non-existent. That is the best way it can be described, because it does not make sense. Now, all of this screams to you occult. This is some occultish, fiendish power. But as you are looking and focusing on why the heart is here, you've learnt and know that the heart of a devil is where their souls are kept. And you can see, and what you had previously figured out through Axon and Helen's knowledge and understanding of the spirals, that this spiral is absorbing the energies kept in that devil's heart. And you can see that happen live. There is a moment where the heart itself, rather than beating in a normal rhythm, you hear it beat almost in reverse. You hear it almost kind of suck in the air. And as it does make that kind of convulsion, you all see it kind of wriggle and writhe, and it grows smaller. It gets smaller in size. The spiral doesn't change. There's no change to the actual mural, but that heart does shift and diminish in size. But you can still see this man, this old man, is still reaching for it and trying to like grab onto something on this mural.
Okay, then I'm gonna try something. I want to cast command on the old man, and the command I'm going to give him is awake.
Okay. I'm going to roll a saving throw. I will roll it live, so all of you see it.
Okay. Yeah, that fails.
You issue the command awake, and you find yourself disappearing from this consciousness altogether. And as you say that word, away, you almost fall into something mid-word. You are nothing. There is a moment where there is nothing. Complete void. And you're not sure what this means. Thought doesn't even go through your mind. But something in this space still brings you a consciousness, and you see something ahead. You are pushed by your own words. Awake. As you hurl towards this shadow. The shadow which depicts whatever this mural depicts, the same humanoid-looking shade standing there. You grow closer to it. Closer, closer, and closer. And then the final part of the word, awake, echoes out of you. And the shadow almost reaches out for you. But then you pull back, and you also hear the old man beginning to stir awake. Where am I?
Yeah, pretty much dropping down from probably mental or maybe physical exhaustion, gasping for air, just like the old man. The better question is, where were you? I had a sort of vision.
He continues to kind of convulse for a moment as he's still like trying to understand where he is. That moment where you wake up someone sleepwalking, they enter almost like a panic where they don't really understand where they are, what's going on. As you ask him, I don't know where I was.
Do you remember having a dream?
No, I remember a voice speaking to me.
What did it say?
It said, awake.
I suppose that would be me then.
As he turns and looks up at the figure depicted in this mural, you see he begins to kind of like push back as there seems to be some sort of recognition as he stares towards it in fright.
What do you know of this symbol?
I only saw it in my dreams. I saw darkness, a void calling for me. He begins to look around. Admiral! He crawls his way to the Admiral, who puts his hand out for a moment. Wait there for a second, friend. Do not approach any closer. You do not know what sickness afflicts you.
I remember he broke his legs like last time. Did he never notice it, or?
You see, as you begin to point this out, the old man begins to feel the pain in his legs. Seemingly the pain was dulled. And now he's beginning to like freak out from the broken parts of his body. Helen, as you're still taking aim and looking and watching, you notice the heart beat again as it grows smaller in size. Because you do not have dark vision, you can see the pattern of red that is the spiral. This heart beats, and the spirals themselves seemingly fill with something. There is a presence here that is filling in the spiral from this heart. And you're not sure what it is.
Helen would kind of cock her head to the side a little bit and look at it and go, that thing, the heart is affecting it somehow. If it's anything like the other ones, it might be magic. So if someone wants to move him, that might be smart. And can I just kind of step a little bit closer just to get a slightly better look and try to figure out if it is magical?
Sure. As you're beginning to investigate, roll an Arcana check. At this point, Axon, your Detect Magic finishes casting, and you begin to see everything in this magical sense. You, Axon, notice that there is a siphon being placed on this spiral. The souls inside of this heart are diminishing in size and are being pulled into this spiral. Yet the spiral itself does not hold any of that energy. It seems to be conjured, dispersed somewhere else. As your previous statement was, this is some sort of siphon. It's taking and placing it somewhere else. If you want to, because you're also focused on this at the moment, roll an Arcana check for me to see if you can distinguish where it is going.
Nope.
With a nat 1, all you see is a blank canvas. You are seeing the energy hit something, but you're not sure where it's going afterwards. But this could be considered necromantic, but as well, with your experience with runes, this is something more primordial in sense. This is something more rooted in ancient powers, beyond what is taught. Helen, with your 20, you can see that this heart is diminishing. Every time it diminishes, you can see that this mural, the spiral itself, grows deeper, and an energy around it, similar to what your mesmer does, where it creates this heat wave. You're seeing that same heat wave condensed into a single spot. Now, with everything that's being said, conjuration magic being a specific element to this, you can sense that this power is overwhelming. It's growing to the point that something is going to happen to this spiral soon, as well as this heart.
Helen just look and go, this is doing something, and quickly, and someone grab him right now, and would take aim, basically give people like a second to grab him, and then just shoot it. Like just shoot at the heart.
You fire the heart. Roll damage for me. You don't have to roll to hit. Just roll the damage.
D4. Where is my weapon? There we go. It won't let me, so I'm just gonna have to roll the attack because it won't let me just roll damage.
All of you begin to watch as Helen takes fire at the heart. Okay, 12 points of damage. 3 of that cold. Okay. Anyone else? You can see the after hearing that, the admiral grabs the old man and begins to drag him towards the tunnel as the guards take him and continue out. The admiral's still standing there.
I don't know if it matters. It counts as magical because of the
Mhm.
right being on it.
Noted. So, Admiral pulls away with the guards, stands there beside Helen still. We'll go through the rest of you one by one in case you want to do something. So we'll start off with Ulrin. Anything you do?
Yeah, I'll cast thingy.
Sacred Flame.
What's it called? No,
Okay.
no. God, Searing Smite onto my weapon and ready action to attack the thing in case Helen didn't already finish the job.
Okay. If you want to attack the heart now already, you can do. This is all happening kind of simultaneously, so you tell me.
Okay, then I'll just attack it.
Okay, so just roll for damage.
Also, just in case, I'll cast this at 2nd level, so I do, I think, 2d6 of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a d8 plus 3 plus 6. There you go.
Okay, 12 points. Very good. We'll move on to Maysili. Anything that you want to do?
I just want to ready an attack. I'm not gonna attack straight away because last time we took psychic damage, and I'll let the others tank that before I do anything.
All right, sure. What are you readying specifically? Eldritch Blast?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you begin to build up the energy in your hand. Then we move on to Axon.
Well,
Anything you want to do? Don't have to.
seeing that everyone's so quick to attack the heart, I want to actually look closer to the spiral, and if it's like possible to somehow remove the connection to the heart, that it will not, would not. I will come closer, of course, and look like more closely if it's possible to either remove the heart from where it's like attached, or remove the connection to the spiral.
Okay. As you kind of look around and place your ear close to the actual spiral, trying to get a closer look behind the heart, you can see your allies beginning to shoot towards it. The heart itself taking the hits, and as it does, convulse from the attacks and move around. It's a hearty, mind the pun, element of a devil. It has some strength to it, and as you are looking as it warbles in space, you can see where those spirals from the hands wrap around. They almost protrude forward and hold onto the heart itself. Now you could try and remove those physically, or you could try and do something of your own accord. You tell me.
I will try and push, or I mean, I will use my sickle and try to push it somewhere in between those tendrils and the heart, and try to cut them lightly, like I rip its heart from their grips.
For this, I'd like you to roll the damage, but double it for me.
Damage, okay. That's not much, but I will just double check how much it is. Is it basically a critical hit? Can
It will be,
I just roll it? Yeah, so 12.
12, nice. You nick one of these lines of energy off the spiral, and as you do, the rest of your allies hit it. Your ear placed against the spiral itself, you can feel it hum for a moment. You feel it humming as the energy seems to be pumping through. with the attacks, you can hear that hum becoming distorted, and you feel this pull, like gravity in this point is becoming intense, and you feel as if you're being pulled into the center of this spiral. I am going to need both Ulrin, Helen, as well as Axon to roll a D100 for me. Okay.
I don't like that one of us got so high and one of us got so low. I
Hey,
hate
look,
both of those.
D100s, you usually want to aim low. All right. So, as you let out these attacks, you see the heart itself warble, break apart in areas, and as well, where you had torn that sickle through one of the lines of energy, Axon, you see the bottom half of the heart completely detaches from the wall and falls to the ground. The other half still held there. You see it beginning to shake, warble, and move. I will say, since you're holding your action, Marie, if you wish to still fire your Eldritch Blast. Okay.
Fuck no.
All right. Okay. You watch as that top half of the heart begins to squeal and squeak once more, no longer having the other sections of it to really pump the blood through. You see it just almost buckle into itself and pulled towards this point where gravity is beginning to build. Axon, you feel it pulling you into the center of this spiral. What are you doing?
Is it like, do I feel like a physical pull or mental or
Feel
like?
a physical pull. Same as Ulrich, actually, because the two of you were stood next to it.
Can I don't know, place my like boot next to the spiral and try, like, you know, while the sickle is still like somewhere in the tendrils, and try to, you know, push it somewhere behind the tendrils, and like with the force of my, you know, push from like the feet, and try to fall on the back and separate from the spiral.
So you're trying to push yourself away from the wall, right? With your foot in your hand? Okay.
Just the foot. I place both hands on the sickle and try, you know, like push it, and with my like feet.
Understood. You try and push away. Excellent. For that, I will ask you to roll an athletics check at advantage for me.
I don't think it will help.
Ulrin, you feel that same pull with you as well.
I look around. Is there a spot where I could, lever my hammer or lodge it behind something to, anchor me, and then pull me away?
With that, I'll ask you to roll a wisdom check for me.
Okay.
To see if you can find the right spot to place your hammer. Okay. So the two of you begin to push away from the spiral, unfortunately getting no real purchase as the intensity begins to build up. Both Helen and Macelia, the two of you, watch as now the spiral itself almost begins to swirl. You see the actual pattern itself begin to almost spin endlessly as the heart itself is being pushed into the stonework and is becoming less and less prominent. You see it almost being sucked into the spiral, as well as the rest of your allies. Is there anything that you guys want to do as you're seeing
Does
this?
it seem like it's a gravity thing that's pulling them, or more of a emotional
You can
pull,
roll.
like-
You can roll a intelligence check or investigation if you're proficient.
I'll do investigation.
22. This is a space of amplified gravity. This is an area where some sort of singularity is taking place, and a crushing void is beginning to suck in anything around it. Due to the nature of you hitting it and severing part of it, you see that this process is becoming slightly unstable. You could attempt to destroy the other half of the heart to nullify the effects completely, or you could attempt to pull your allies free, because at one point you assume that all living matter is going to get sucked into it.
Helen's just gonna look at Maisley and go, "Shoot it! Shoot it!"
Just shoot.
Is gonna again take aim from her point of view.
Okay, so I'd like the two of you just to roll damage again. So that will be the Eldritch Blast and a crossbow as well.
What does it?
Do you add +5 to that?
Yeah,
one, so
just
that-
add +5 because I cannot make this shit work for the life of me. It's just a 9.
No worries.
That's just attack, and then we roll damage.
Okay. You both fire once again towards the heart, and at this point, both Axon and Orin, the two of you, are getting closer and closer into the spiral. Axon, you using your foot to lever against the wall, you find your foot sucked into this void, into this spiral, and for a moment you cannot see or feel it as you are continuing to try and push away. There is just a numb sensation to your foot as it is currently in this spiral. Orin, you are currently being pulled closer and closer to it, and you feel if you let go of your hammer, you're going to fall into this spiral as well. One thing I will ask from Orin and Axon. Your two allies hit the heart. You begin to feel this space moving back and forth. I'm going to ask you one thing each. How are you going to attempt to escape from your current position? Because if you describe a scenario where a limb could be lost, it is a possibility that you lose this limb.
I did successfully lodge my hammer somewhere where it is currently stable, and I'm holding on to that, right?
You are, yes.
Okay, then I will try to climb along the hammer out of the radius.
Okay. Since you've lodged it in a place which holds tight, I'm going to need you to roll an athletics check at advantage, as you are using that as your main pulling system. Okay. You slip slightly at the handle. You find yourself pulled back, and you are slowly losing grip as you are closer and closer to this spiral. Axon, your foot is still lodged within.
Mhm.
You are somewhat losing grip, but there's still ways to get out of this. Please describe to me how you wish to do so.
Okay, so the pull is so like severe that it would not help me to if I just try to fall back using my weight, right? It won't.
You could try to
be
like hoist
enough.
yourself back with a momentum. You could give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and okay, my foot got like stuck there. Okay, can I try and push myself with the with the foot which not stuck, like but I tried to push it not like through this spiral, but next to it, and try to help build the momentum and just hold backwards on my back.
Okay. I will ask you to roll a acrobatics or athletics check for me.
Just straight roll, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
13.
You pull back with as much momentum and force as you can muster and lean backwards. The rest of you watch as that spiral, which only has one half of it, which is currently spinning, the other half disconnected and broken. You can see it warble back and forth and shift and change. And at one point, you see it just stop. It holds itself back into its place. Action, you pull your foot free as you fall backwards. You're no longer being pulled into the gravity. Orin, the same, as you find yourself landing onto the ground, holding onto the hammer still. The spiral no longer shifts or moves, but you do see the heart itself get sucked in to the lines of red light and disappear from view. As it disappears into the singular point in the middle where these spirals connect and meet, you can see it almost stretch. Space itself seems to stretch inside like a tunnel, an endless dark pinprick of a tunnel. And you can almost see through it. There is depth. There is a space beyond. And you assume, because you had severed part of this heart, destroyed an essence of it, that this hole in space would have been much larger, probably the same size of the spiral itself, which is huge in comparison. But there is only a singular bead, no pull, no tug, and there is no more pressure. Axon, for you, your foot was momentarily in this space, and you look down as you still feel a numbness to it, and you have to kind of undo your boot to check it for a second to see if it's still there. And you can see your foot is completely grayed. There is no color. It is slightly wrinkled, more so than it should be. It's like the life force of it has been drained, yet it doesn't feel in pain, just feels different, as if it's lost any sort of aspect that it was before.
And through the detect magic, do I see that at least weave, does the weave go through, or is it also
Does not
severed?
at all. It does not at all. Like the veins, as if it were an X-ray, you see the veins pumping arcane energy through your body. As soon as it reaches your ankle, there is nothing that flows in there. It is just a complete void, similar to the spiral, when you look at it through dark vision eyes.
Can Helen see? Can either of us see what? Can we see this or see through the hole from where we're stood, or no?
You can see Axon currently at the moment looking at his foot. As well, you can look through the hole if you want to.
Yeah, she kind of try to look through.
Okay. You can see through it, and as you kind of place your eye close, you can almost see that heat wave, that buildup of gravitational energy there in the center of this spiral. But again, it's been diluted in size to a pinprick. Yet you think that you could still pass something through it. Something of the same size, at least. The Admiral will kind of look over after having kind of shielded the old man momentarily with his wing extended. Is that it?
Well, there seems to be some kind of dimensional door. We can probably pass a note through if you're keen, but not sure what to do about it otherwise.
A note? I would prefer not to contact the other side.
Just kind of should kind of nod. Does she recognize this type of magic, like this type of thing? I'm guessing now she'd also be able to see his foot.
You can roll an Arcana check if you want to, or religion for that matter.
Okay, I'm gonna do Arcana.
Thanks. There are tales that seem like they might have something here. Like this can't be the first time this has happened, but your knowledge isn't helping you. But perhaps if you were to find someone who was more knowledgeable in stories, perhaps they could enlighten on the situation. But this is past your understanding, unfortunately.
Cool. Well, Admiral, I think it's up to you now what we do with it.
I do not know of organizations that will deal with this. I will have to contact the Sovereign and see if we can work with the Casper Veritician. They might be able to find something about this. I've heard rumors of other anomalies similar to this. There are doorways in this world that lead to other things, other dimensions, other worlds. This might be something similar or something completely new. I do not know. It will need experts to look into this. But you have done enough. Thank you for helping. I will need to confer with the rest and see what we can do.
Has anything else in the room changed since the thing opened? Like, or does it all seem to be the same?
You're looking around and you're not sure if it's your mind playing tricks on you, but the daisy chain of blood stains on the wall of people, you swear that they have maybe shifted slightly to the right.
Is that the direction the spirals were going? Like,
the spirals were going into themselves. So there's one that spirals clockwise and there's another one that goes anti-clockwise and they meet in the center.
Should just kind of look at it and just kind of mentally take note.
Mm-hmm. With this, you see the Admiral begin to prepare plans further. You guys are left to examine further if you wanted to, but you see he begins to sort his own business out. So I ask you guys as a group, what you end up doing?
You said she could have wrote religion to gather some stories about this?
Yes.
Then I would like to try that.
Of course, go for it. $15. There's something about what you're seeing on this dot. Something about the other side. Something is reminiscent to Moradin. not in the way that you're grasping at. There is a link, but you're not sure. There would need to be further examination of it. The only thing with a 15 that you can really conjure is Moradin, although speaking highly of his craft and what he was able to do, his testaments and his beliefs were more focused on the one he cherished most, Sahanin. You're thinking that Moradin has some connection to this dot, but you're actually now beginning to believe that perhaps Sahanin may be able to share a better perspective. But you're not sure to what extent or why. Okay. Anything else in this room?
Are there any other like remains around of people at all?
No, not at all. They seem... That was the part that seemed odd. There's all of the smell, but there is something very sterile about the space, because there is not a morsel left. Nothing has been left behind. The only thing that remains now is the other half of that heart, the devil's heart. The part which was severed by Axon, you can see it still on the ground. No longer pumping, but part of the devil's heart nonetheless.
Can I go pick it up properly, carefully, with tools, and put it in? I have a herbalism kit and an alchemist kit. Surely between the two, I have enough salt to like put it in properly.
Sure.
Helen, don't you think you have enough potentially dangerous items?
Sure, this can be used for many, many useful things. Plus, if we have to investigate more later, or, you know, if we need to do whatever. Plus, who knows what kind of potions it could be used for. And would just continue.
Let's first solve this mystery before accidentally making poison out of a devil's heart.
Two things can happen at once. And would kind of just look it over. Does it like seem like this is definitely the one? Like just basically triple checking that, yeah, this fits the description of the thing that we found on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's definitely smaller in size than it should be, but there's several elements to it. It is quite warm to the touch, although the actual blood itself is freezing cold. There is a definite sense that this is a devil's heart, but as well, it matches the same, because you rolled quite high. I believe you rolled a natural 20 on your medicine check, so you know that this is their heart.
Cool.
All right. Anything else?
Can we see anywhere if there was storage for a book?
No need to roll like an investigation check or anything, as you guys are casing the joints as well with the guards. You find nothing at all. The only thing that you can come across is on that pew, there seemed to be a placement for a book, but there is nothing present. You also begin to get the idea that that fresh set of prints, the newest set of prints that seem to be walking through here with boots to them, older prints, but they were different from the rest of the footprints. You can see that they are the only ones that have been placed into that space. Large boots, humanoid, medium-sized, seemingly stood behind that raised area to preach to whoever was in front of him. So yeah, that's all you know. There's nothing here to gain, unfortunately. So do you guys head back to the tavern?
Are
Or
the
just-
guards just kind of coming with us, basically? Like, or are they doing anything of their own?
The guards are still casing the joint as well. They're making sure that nothing is left, nothing is being overlooked, and they're also stationed here as well. So you can see that 5 of them have been left behind, whilst 1 of them is going back with the Admiral to discuss further plans and prepare further. The town itself doesn't have the largest garrison, but this isn't the entire barracks in one place. There are still watchtowers being manned. The town is still being protected. But so far, they're going to be staying, probably for the night as well.
Do they seem more awake?
You can roll an insight check if you want, Helen, to see.
Insight?
Yeah.
I'm not wise at all, but we'll see.
Well, they haven't slept since, so you're not sure. Not too sure there. Okay, Axon and Maycelia, are you guys doing anything, or?
No, after like examining the food and touching it, so I don't know. Like I just try to stand up and walk and just go back to the tavern.
Mm-hmm. Your foot acts as normal. It doesn't seem to like change in how your stride is or anything. You can still kind of like move the toes, but it does feel like null. It just feels numb. So it's a weird sensation. You can still use it to its full capability, but the senses there are lessened to almost 0.
And just so like I would be aware, there are no signs of rotting or an infection. Just
Nothing
basically a color change and numbness.
Yeah,
in
pretty
the
much.
feeling. Okay.
Okay. So with that, you head back to the town, head back to the tavern. You see Kagnar there with the horses now slightly less disturbed as they were before. And you continue your rest into the late night.
Before I continue my my rest, I would like to basically scratch through the carvings in the tavern, like to basically cross out the entire spiral thingy.
Okay, sure. You deface whatever was there, scratching into it, removing any semblance of what was etched before, and yeah, you do so effectively. You have your chisels. You're a handyman by trade. You've got all of the tools in your arsenal to do so.
Oh. Not sure if this will help the town sleep, but it sure will help mine.
Okay. So you all rest for the evening. You sleep. Nothing else comes up throughout the night. No other conflicts, no bright lights, nothing of the sort. And no dreams either. It is just a still, calm night. As the morning arises, you all have your long rest. You all regain your abilities, spell slots, everything else. And as you do, you begin to see the town of Laren almost slower than it was the day before. Slow to stir awake. You spend the morning doing your own activities and then eventually begin to see the first moments of people stepping out of their homes. You can see no longer the bags under their eyes. You see as they walk through, they kind of give a big yawn. You can see there's a slight smile across their face as they greet you, good morning. You get the sense that this drowsiness that seemed to affect the town has almost completely vanished altogether. There is still a bit of a catching up to do when it comes to their sleep schedule, but they seem to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Helen would be like lounging by the lake.
Lounging by the lake, Helen, you see fresh catches of the day being caught from the bottomless lake. Still an enigma, still a strange infinity pool as it just kind of descends down and down and down forever. But the morning continues. Is there anything someone wants to do first thing? What are your plans as a group? If you wish to speak to anyone, or you can just head off.
Just for the morning, I would like to take a relaxing stroll around the lake, or rather on the shore, not around the entire lake.
Yeah. Okay. You mean to look around? Nice morning stroll. Since we're on you at the moment, Arne, if you could roll a d20 to see how the day looks for us.
I was about to, or rather, I was assuming you meant roll a d20 to see how many of those shells I find, because they're just that common.
Okay, 10. The day itself seems to be a very warm one. The southern side of Calzaria ebbs and flows with many different climates, most of them being very harsh and extremes of one or the other. The kind of sunny hot days are the hottest they can be. The cold and humid ones are the same. So today seems to be a very warm day, which isn't the best for traveling in, but at least it means that you won't be having to find shelter and somewhere to rest overnight to stay away from the cold. But walking along the shore, you can see the ship itself, the Poison Ivy, placed there in the middle, docked up, just anchored there, not doing anything. People go back and forth between the ports themselves, and walking along the shore side, and Helen as well sat beside it. The two of you, in different places during this moment, can see ripples in the water, just almost like the water itself is shimmering. As it does, you see some of the kids within the town begin to rush up to the water and place their head into the water itself. And you see they seem to be giddy, listening to whatever is happening underneath the surface tension of the water. For Axon and Maysili, are you guys doing anything in the morning?
Besides few stretches and I don't know, some more morning routines, no, not do anything.
Okay.
I think so. Either.
All right. So you plan your morning out and you ready yourselves for the afternoon trip. Is there anything else you wish to do in the town before you leave? You have another 2 days worth of travel ahead of you, as long as the weather is kind, which it seems to be, as well as the conditions of the road.
Helen would try to get a good sketch of some of the main characters we met in town.
Sure.
After exchanging a few words with Ulrin, do I know any shops which might sell some components?
Yeah, there is no real specific shop here. There seems to be just a general market for when traders come in. But you can look around the shop, the different shops and stalls there to see if anything catches your eye. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Yes. Seeing as it is like some port town, maybe there will be pearls worth 100 gold pieces.
Yeah, sure. Just roll a d20 for me.
Okay. Oh wait. Another one.
Okay.
Yeah, natural one.
You come across a salesman, this kind of lanky-looking elven man, Hey, man. Hey. I hear you're looking for some pearls.
You guessed correctly, good sir. Are you? Oh, do you have some?
Well, something of the sort, yeah.
Maybe perhaps you are mistaken, but I do not need something of the sort. I need exactly or specifically the pearl. So you know that white, hard, and round pearl, not something sort of.
Well, I've got something that sounds like it's that, but I don't really know. I've got a bag full of stuff. Maybe, I don't know, look through it.
If you don't mind me asking, this stuff, did you procure it in a legal way or not so much?
Hey, man, why are you trying to question my legal tender, man? It's my stuff.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to question you. I will not buy anything procured illegally, stolen or looted from the dead corpses. It's,
Oh, of course, man. I haven't stolen anything from any dead people. No, that's not cool. No.
Are you sure about that? And asking that, I will also make an insight check
Okay, go for it.
if he is lying or not.
Out of curiosity, is that the same guy I traded with? He just switched to pearls after running out of shells.
No, this seems to be a different one.
Yeah,
9.
that's a 9.
Accent. Hard to read this guy. He seems to be a bit all over the place anyway. He kind of like just picks up the bag. Hey man, look, I've got this, and he pulls out some sort of bound leather scroll case, places it on the table. I don't know. I've got some other bits. There's this like sapling. I don't know. Yeah, look, and he just empties the contents of this leather satchel and just places it on the table. Hey, look, man, you point something out, and I'll tell you how much it is, all right?
All right. Do I see any pearls there?
You do see there are 3 sets of pearls. They seem to be kind of in a bracelet, but you can unplug them and take the pearls and use them separately. Roll a investigation check.
Come on. Let it at least. I think I cannot roll more than 10. Yeah, it's 8. Or higher than
Looking
10.
around, you can see there is this kind of very nice leather-bound scroll case that kind of placed onto the table. There's also a small book to the side. There's some other kind of random components for different spells that you can just see laid out on the table. And he just kind of like begins to shake his head. Yeah, you can take those pearls, man. 20 gold pieces.
And from my investigation, I suppose it will like be used, or I can use for my spell, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's worth 100 gold pieces, like one pearl.
These are pearls up to the standard that you're used to using. He just seems to be misevaluating it, but that's a good deal for you.
Yeah, something inside of me is screaming that it's not so like good, but yeah, sure. Yeah, I will take it. But how about 15?
Deal, man. Deal. Just take it, man.
All right then. Yeah, and the scrolls. How much those? Are those?
Oh, those old things. Oh, I thought it was toilet paper. Yeah, you can take it, I guess. How much are scrolls?
1 gold pieces. 1 gold piece.
Make it 2 gold pieces then.
Sure. Here you go.
Ah, thanks, man. All right. Anything else?
Anything else worth of like my interest for this?
There's
in
components here
his...
that all of the components that are here seem to amount to like 200 gold pieces. You see that he probably would sell them for about 5 gold. He keeps referring to them as junk or something that he doesn't really understand. And then there's a leather book as well to the side. And he kind of like holds that. Hey, do you like reading, man?
Yes, I do, and I have quite a collection back home.
Oh, nice. Well, look, I don't really need any of this shit, so how about I just give you the book and all of this for like 10 gold pieces?
I would gladly take the stuff off from you, but for 5.
Oh, you drive a hard bargain, man. All right, 5 gold pieces. Here you go.
Okay. So in total it would be 22, right?
I think so.
Okay, and I give him 22 gold pieces.
Oh man, thanks. He goes in and gives you a hug. Oh, see you, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Pleasure doing business with you. Don't
You
waste
too,
it
man.
all.
Anytime.
Yeah, and now I will take a closer look at what junk did I buy.
Sure, yeah. You begin to look at all the stuff you've purchased, and you can see the book that you purchased from him. It seems to be a spell book, a wizard's spell book. You can see different spells etched into it.
Wait,
There's a few
is it-
spells that you don't know. There's some spells
Is
that
it
you
really
do.
a spell book?
You
Am I
begin
certain
to
of
look
it?
with your detect magic, and you can
Yeah.
see that there are elements of runes, and yeah, this is a spell book.
Okay,
You can see
interesting.
all of the components for a wizard to cast their spells. The scroll case is all bound and close together, but you sense that there is a spell in there as well that can be used.
Okay. Can I also try and use that at least one pearl from that bracelet, or I don't know where it was, and try to cast identify
Yeah, sure.
as a ritual.
You begin to cast Identify as a ritual, and it works. You begin to examine everything, and you can see the scroll case contains 2 spells in it. One of 5th level, and one of 4th level.
Action size would be like widen. He would never expect, and look at where that shady-looking guy went off. Do I see him still, or he is already gone?
Yeah, you can see him next to a bin, a trash can, and he's like looking in there. He's grabbing something from inside. He kind of looks at it and puts it in his pocket.
Interesting. But oh well. I just put it back in my bag and like smile at him and just go back to the group.
Okay. With that all said and done, you guys prepare for your journey forward. And do you leave straight away?
Helen will probably wander around and try to see if anyone opens up somewhere that could qualify as getting a warm breakfast.
Oh yeah, sure. You do see that some establishments begin to open up a bit more. Nothing of the size of a tavern, but some people begin to share food. Stalls as well through the market begin to create more inspiring meals, and you can get a decent grub now. It's no longer just like fish soup. Now they're beginning to make salted sea bass, beginning to actually think about the foods that they're making because they're no longer in the state. And you'll notice straight away that the actions that you've done, whatever was causing it, whether it was the devil's heart or the spiral itself or the influence of those creatures, something that you guys have done has nullified the effect of this drowsiness that has put a detriment on all those people. As you kind of eat your meals, begin to prepare to leave, you can see the Admiral approaches once more, flying overhead, landing to where you were. I have contacted the Sovereign Flintwook, and messengers will be on their way here. The Casper Edition, as well as the Jadeite Umbra, will be here. Organizations that deal in these matters. I am not proficient in any of these sorts of understandings of gateways or magic, but they should enlighten us on what we could not see ourselves. But I wish to thank you for helping us, for helping the town. You did not have to, but you did. And I believe that the actions that you have committed last night saved this town. So that is something to be commended. I asked this question mostly because of your influence here. Would you wish me to inform the sovereign of your dealings and how you have helped? I know
Helen would have immediately just start nodding.
If you don't mind me asking, what kind of deal or what kind of action did we perform yesterday that got so high praise?
I do not know, but you stopped something from happening further. That is for sure. And your presence here has removed whatever curse had laid on these people. So your actions have done something. But you and I clearly don't understand the greater picture out of our professional understanding.
That's actually true, but you can also share with whoever will investigate it further that those spirals actually caused or actually transferred souls to some place. I don't know which place, but basically it sucks in the energy or the soul, and where it goes afterwards, I have no clue.
Hithkana will be dealing with this situation herself. She will inform them of what we have learned here and your findings as well.
And
I will inform the sovereign of your aid, and perhaps in due time this will benefit you in some way.
Me personally, I would be more grateful if you would, or whoever will investigate and find the cause of this curse, that he would share his or her findings with us. It would be most appreciated.
That can be done. And where are you traveling next? I hear Bellevere, is that right?
Yes, you heard it right.
Well, perhaps I will see you there. The ship does not stay here all the time, and with news of more pirates becoming more and more organized, ships like this will no longer be able to stay and protect the towns.
Oh,
But we will
actually, and did you hear about the ship named in? If you could remind me the ship which like coast or fled, or the captain like fled.
Silverhand. Silverhand.
Silverhand, yeah, Silverhand. Did you hear anything about that ship, or do you know it?
He nods. I have tried following up on this ship, sending out messages to other admirals and sailors since this last debacle here in town. It has been sighted eastward of Calzeria, traveling in a southerly direction. Now, this information was a week ago, so it is possible that they are further south than we first thought. Yet, the Silver Hand has dealings with pirate councils, so be wary if you see it. It is not to be trusted, and many of these pirates disguise themselves as merchant ships, tradesmen, but all they are wishing to do is plunder and steal whatever you have. They will take, but never give back. That is not what we should be doing as people.
What did the ship look like? Did they have a flag or anything? Just in case we do happen upon it, so we know.
There was no flag, but the description of the hull is a unique one. It used a malachite material, a greenish iron substance, a metal of sorts. I do not know of the inner workings, but the malachite made it have an illusionary property to it that helped it blend into the sea. A foam of sorts would rise around, and an illusion would keep itself present and hidden at the same time. That is an element of the ship which is quite unique. It held no banners, it held no flag.
Yeah, the captain of that ship, we believe he was either a cause of this course or might play some part in it. Because we found the same spirals in the tavern where the fight took place. And also there were teleportation magic used in one of cellars.
I would not be
So-
surprised if people of the occult would be hiding underneath other masks. It is commonplace, especially between pirates and mercenaries, using other names to fight under, to hide their true intentions.
That's another possibility. A possibility. You're correct. Although I would assure you, some occult members are not even hiding. They might be right under your nose.
He nods with a slight scowl look, as if someone who has experienced that firsthand.
But I wouldn't not waste any more of your precious time, and hope you all do well. And looking forward for to our next meeting.
He gives a nod. And perhaps we'll see each other in Bellavere. Good luck on your journeys. The hillside and the open plains can be very dangerous. The plains, because you are open to anything that flies, and the hills, because people and things hide within them. So keep an eye peeled. And if you're looking for the skies, look for the clouds that move in different ways. There are clouds that shift, not under the wind, but under their own motion. They are to be watched.
Thank you for your fair warning. We will keep it in mind. Although, if you have a free place on your ship and you're by any fortunate, occurrence traveling to the Bellavere, we might join you, if you don't mind.
Well, we will be leaving in one day. If you do wish to travel with us, that is, we will take you on board. The journey itself will take a few days by ship, but we should be there in 4 days or so.
Oh,
the weather is kind.
Nice.
That's faster than we'd get there walking, right? / with the cart.
With a cart, it can take around 2 to 3 days, depending on the weather and the conditions.
Okay, so it's
By ship, it would
good
be
for
up
us
to
to go
day.
if we leave today.
Yeah.
And it means we get to keep the horses. So
Yeah, actually, after reconsidering, you can. I'm sorry for inquiring it, General. Yeah, I would not cannot leave my horses behind. They're
Oh, you bring
too
them
precious.
with you. We have a stables
like.
on board.
And again, I cannot make this decision all by myself.
Well, have a think about it. I'll be stationed in the port for a little bit. Find me, and I can bring you aboard. The poison ivy. Until then, I perhaps will see you in Bolivia. And he begins to head off.
I'll mumble
What are
under
your
my
opinions
breath.
on this? I would consider the ship to be the safer option, but the letter did specify we should travel the Gold Throne Road.
Did it though? Can I remember, or can I look into the letter? Was it specifically
It did
mentioned
say
that we need to arrive by
they
road?
travel down the Gold Throne Road until you hit Bolivia.
Yeah, but I thought it was more like a direction where to go, not like it's a
That's up to you.
requirement.
So,
Okay.
That's a question of interpretation.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of, I don't know, not so inspiring, don't you think? If you are safely travel to the Bolivia, it makes your heart running faster if you are in danger, or at least like it's more interesting.
Well, the danger aside, in these past few days, I've seen a great many things that I will remember for a long time. Some of them dangerous, some of them I would have avoided rather. However,
Yet,
all of those are experiences I do treasure.
yet you will treasure them after some time. So yeah, I would say we keep our horses and travel with the car, unless anyone would want to more safe or traveling more safely.
Do you want to put up to a vote?
Well, I know what Kel would vote for. It's by the road.
Um,
Traveling.
The thing is, I'm not sure because Kel would either agree with Oren in more experiences, or I've never been on a boat.
Exactly, yeah.
I've
That's
never
also
been on
possible.
a boat. Helen's probably leaning more towards boat because fun. Also, cool admiral who's a cool seagull.
Okay, so we have one for the boat.
I was muted.
Yeah.
Probably boat. Basically, would vote boat 2 for personal reasons. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, 2 boats.
Give
I
me a
would
second, I
prefer
will
the road.
spam Leonie. Boater Road.
Boat or road, boat or road, boat or road. Axon, are you leaning towards road?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 2-1 for now.
I mean, either Oren decides or like Kel.
Yeah.
It's basically up to them.
It becomes up to Olren, really, because Olren, if you decide to go road, then it's a stalemate. And then we have to see.
Yeah, I
what
mean,
Leonie-
but he can push towards Leonie, so she will decide at the end.
I know.
Decide and vote.
I already said I would prefer Road,
Uh-huh.
so now I'm
Oh,
currently waiting for Leonie to say something.
Leonie! God damn it.
Yeah, then we can stay for one day at least here and then make a decision. Though I don't know what to do in this. So
Well, perhaps I could get some work done on your projects. I did offer you to make weapons or equipment.
do you mean me specifically or everyone?
Or in this case, everyone.
Honestly, haven't even think about it. haven't thought about it.
So, you know those stones that we picked up when Cal. Well,
Yeah, I remember someone being flung into the air. Yes.
I used them yesterday evening to actually get out of the hole. So I was thinking,
Oh.
if we can figure out a way to put them in something that won't dislocate my wrist, then it might be useful for that to be something we can use. I'm happy to help with the testing and whatnot, but
Perhaps if we could control them somehow and put them into boots, it could help you jump farther.
True.
Well, something worth keeping in mind. Though, if you do prefer being propelled by your gloves, that would be an option too.
Just something that could give me a bit of a vantage point, or get me out of holes. Like last evening. Proved very useful. And we'll just kind of carefully hold up the bag of sand wrapped in socks that's containing them.
Okay, so is the plan to maybe stay in town and theorycraft as you have some downtime to yourselves?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, how about we kind of close the session there slightly earlier, but that also gives you some time to think about what you want to do during your downtime activity. Since you have a day, you're giving yourselves a day in the town. Now there are more amenities, now there are more things to do. You have a bit more time to look around and do some more bits. And Ilya, do you want to ask the question?
A question?
Ask the question, Ilya. Ask the question.
What question?
The question. The question. The one you ask every session.
Oh, you mean did we level up?
Yes, you do. You level up. You
Yay!
level up.
Let's
Fucking
go.
hell.
I can get expertise finally.
Yes. So we level up to level 4 for next session. As pretty much next session will be a travel episode again. But we're traveling to Bellavia, and perhaps we might start in Bellavia with a bit of a recap of the events on the ship. But we'll see where that goes. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.